Hello everyone and welcome back. In this video, I want to talk to you about signs your child may be struggling with mental health. So I'm making this video based on an article that came out from the Boston Herald. I'll place a link to the article in the video description so that you can read this for yourself. And I'm just going to give you some of the pieces of this. You can obviously read the whole thing for yourself, but just a few things I wanted to go over with you. The World Health Organization, WHO, reports that 1 in 7 adolescents across the globe experiences a mental disorder, which is why it's so important that parents do not quickly dismiss signs of struggle as a normal part of adolescent life. Recognitions of signs suggesting adolescents are struggling with mental health issues can increase the chances kids get the help they need. Yeah, I mean, I think that obviously there are signs that come about at an early age, and sometimes it's something, and sometimes it's nothing. It also talks about eating disorders, and I'm glad they've talked about this because we see a lot of this in our practice. The WHO notes that girls are more commonly affected by eating disorders. I would agree with that. I don't think I can even think of a case where it involved a boy. Not that they don't suffer from this. I'm just telling you we haven't seen it. These conditions, which include anorexia nervosa and bulimia nervosa, tend to emerge during adolescence and are marked by abnormal eating patterns. Adolescents may exhibit an abnormal preoccupation with food and be particularly concerned about their body weight and the shape of their bodies. Look, I have 5 nieces, 2 grandnieces, and a stepdaughter, and I can attest to that being definitely true. And I get it. There's all these social media pressures. Look at even at having just turned 59. I wouldn't say I'm obsessed, but I try to make sure I stay in reasonable shape. I have a beautiful wife, and I want to try and stay at least young looking, if not young feeling, for as long as I possibly can. But when you're dealing with teenagers and young adults, it's tough out there. I mean, obviously you have all these social media, folks out there with these quote perfect bodies and perfect lives. I mean, of course, that creates unnecessary pressure. It talks about risk-taking behaviors. Some adolescents struggling with mental health turn to risk-taking behaviors in an effort to cope with their emotional challenges. The WHO reports that young people are especially vulnerable to substance abuse when confronting mental health challenges during adolescence. Some adolescents also look to risky sexual behavior as a means to coping with mental health issues during adolescence. I will tell you, where we've seen that risky sexual behavior is where perhaps you have a young lady who has been, who suffered some sexual trauma, and now she's looking for some type of, validation, a feeling of worthiness and things of that nature. I've seen a lot of that. But by the time families call us, we're not really dealing with adolescents, we're dealing with young adults. And they are quite the way down the proverbial rabbit hole. And as I tell every family, recovery is a journey. It's not a destination. And a typical case, it's not unusual for it to go on for about a year. I'm not telling you got to hire us for a year, although if it's a guardianship filing, especially, we're probably in the case for a year, even if we're not actively working on the case or actively billing for work. We're there, right? And we're there if you need us. We're there if the court reaches out to us. But we are counsel of record, and we're on the case until such time as the court tells us we're no longer the attorneys on the case. So, interesting article. I'll put a link to it. If you have any questions or comments or concerns, post them. I read all of them, and I typically respond within a day. If you like the video, I would appreciate a thumbs up, and if you could subscribe to the channel, I'd be honored. I appreciate that. I'm trying to put out as much content as I can every day so that you get the information that you need, so you can decide if legal intervention is a way to go, or if you just want to chat or some resources, we're here to help. So with that said, I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.